play a game.
Hello. How we doing? We seem to be in a roof. Roof, roof. I'm back. Amongst other things. Ah, there we are. There's a train. Good. Should probably get the doors open. We're in an HST, apparently labelled First Great Western. And it's apparently pink. But that's okay. Headlights. Seems appropriate. There's a Pacer over there. We'll be driving one of those later. This is a workshop scenario. I would remember who by, but I can't. How's the sound balance between the game and the train? Let's make sure this is working too. Apparently not. There's that thing. Need to press a button. Go on. You know what to do. Is it gonna work? Yay! Right. Good. Okay. It's time to go. Give it some juice. And brakes off. Power on. Off we go. The route is ancient. The train is ancient. It's all ancient. I'm ancient. So away we go then. How have people been for the last few weeks while I've been gallivanting around the United Kingdom, gathering content for you? I have an enormous amount of stuff that I'll be making videos of real trains from, especially the North Norfolk Railway. I think I've got, I don't know, terabyte? Close to a terabyte? So it's running through the chat. Hello to Michael Newbury, Choo Choo, I'm a Train, Rails of Illinois, Lord Victron 4, Maverick, and who else we got? Bad Guy, hello. Rails of Illinois, I think I've said hello to you. Rails says it's ancient like his grandparents, and Rails is apparently feeling sick. That's no good, mate. I'm sorry to hear that. I do hope that you will start to improve. I'm actually trying to decide whether I'm feeling sick or not. It's a strange thing. I do have an ear infection. Actually, I haven't put my drops in. I'll do that after the stream. I got that in the UK. It's kind of interesting. Kind of fun. Kind of not. We shall see. We shall see, indeed. So I hope you feel better quickly, Rails. Bad Guy says, I remember I was telling you my grandmother was in the hospital. She's finally going home like 4 days ago after being there 10 weeks. Oh, at least she's coming home, mate. Say hello to old mate in the Pacer there. At least she is coming home. That's not something that always happens. Maverick says, you're not ancient, you seem to have aged quite well. Well, thank you. Let's get some more power on. With our little high-speed train that isn't very high speed at the moment, and its windows aren't transparent, I've noticed, so yes, it's an old model. It does sound quite good, though. I have to say, it does sound good. Oop, gratuitous bridge shot. Whee! Well, it's not quite a bridge, is it? Oh, yes it is. Goodo. And straight through a station. Stand back from the platform's edge. This train does not stop here. Please keep hold of all strollers and don't get sucked into the fucking tracks. That's what that announcement in the UK should say, but it doesn't. It says something else. They're very gentle in the UK, I've noticed. Genteel might be a better way to describe it, actually, rather than gentle. I did very much enjoy my trip. I'd love to say the channel was rich and paid for it, but that would be a lie. I did notice we've almost reached 8,000. Almost. Pretty close. So if you haven't subscribed and you're watching today, give it a think. I'd love it if you did. Almost there. I am using the TSC-X controller this morning, this thing here. So we've got throttle, brake, independent brake. I can't remember what I've configured the other things for in TSC, it's been too long. So we'll just use the things that I know what they are. Let's have some more power. We've got it. Rail says I went to bed around 7 p.m, woke up at like midnight, woke up again at 3:15 and slowly but surely getting better. Mate, welcome to being old. That's a normal day for me. You know, I wake up at 3:30 on most days. On some days I get back to sleep, but that is getting less common. There are days when I go through the day with 3 or 4 hours sleep, and it's not cool. It's not cool. But anyway, people watching my stream last night, actually, on Friday night, I had to abandon a game because I was falling into microsleeps. And I watched it back, and I didn't actually ever close my eyes, which is interesting, because I'd come back to attention and discover myself just standing at a fence going, try to walk through it. It's kind of funny. It was happening again last night, but my other half brought me some food because she recognised what was happening. She's very cool like that. So we are cruising in the HST. This is the line we'll be getting soon in Train Sim World. So I thought, why not have a look at it? And I'm doing it in a less cheeky way than my friend Tintin, who did it the day before it was announced. Of course, he was just testing an AP pack. That's okay. Rail says, I assume that's one of the Armstrong Powerhouse HST packs. No, it's not. I actually am not a fan of AP. Not that I mind the content. The content they build's pretty good, but there's 2 reasons I'm not a fan of it. One is that if you want to go and buy one thing from AP, you have to buy 3,000 other things from AP or it won't work. So pretty much the whole back catalogue is tied together. So you are stuck with these things. Isn't it funny that people complain about safety systems being on by default in Train Sim World sometimes in some trains, when in Train Sim Classic I think they always have been. But anyway, that's fine. Should be like, I was hoping to like gravity handle the last bit of this speed down, but maybe it won't. There we go. Bad guy wants to walk around. Oh, your grandmother wants to walk around. That's fine. She finally got home 4 days ago. Thankfully still a little bit confused though, but that's okay. That's expected, mate. That's expected. I am very, very happy that she came home. Train Views, hello to you as well. Welcome. Hello, Tam Walker. TSW8 reveal at 8K. Well, sure, why not? I did put up a video that an annual release does appear to be a thing now, so if you haven't given that a watch, it's basically me interjecting in Alex's discussion on the live stream the other day, and I've asked a couple of key questions. So I would really like it if people, it's only a short video, it's only about 8 minutes, so it won't take much time out of your lives, but there's a couple of things that I'd really like to know. What is that on my monitor? Oh, it's a bug. Okay. Am I stopping here? Dawlish Warren, 2.5 miles. No, I'm not stopping here, it's okay. This is a station stop though, but we are not stopping here. Please stand back from the platform's edge. Please take control of all strollers and wheelchairs so that they don't get sucked into the train. I have recorded many platform messages, so when I get myself organised, we'll be able to use them in Train Sim Classic and older Train Sim World routes. But of course we will not need them in the newer Train Sim World routes because we're getting announcements. Finally, not a complete set, but it's good. I'll go with that, it's good. I'm happy. I actually am happy with what we're getting. I'd just love more though, because I'm a greedy prick. Coffee time, says Bad Guy. Right there with you, mate. Oh, that's when you get the micro sleeps. Yeah, you could do that. Hello, Maverick. Laughing his ass off. You were doing a lot of that yesterday. Rail says, yeah, they're not the same as they once were. I think, look, I'm not going to say it's a deliberate business model of AP because I don't know that it is, and I suspect it probably isn't. It's just that they've built up a back catalogue of dependencies, and if you were in it from day one, you'll be fine. But if you weren't, then you're not. It's interesting, it pops up on the screen and says AWS. Let's get a bit more brakes on. Let me pan down a little so you can see the dashboard. It'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? I could kind of see it through the HUD, but... We are diverting, and we actually have to roll through this platform, so don't be concerned when I do that. Are we going to make it down to 25 in time? I think we probably... Maybe... It's going to be close. We are. Look at that. Perfect. Now, we do roll a little way through this station. Don't be concerned, I am not overshooting, although that is always a possibility. We shall see. Benjamin's brain in a jar. Hello. I am about 5 minutes behind the chat, Maverick. This is normal for me. Lord Vectron says that's why he ditched TSC for TSW. What? 4 safety systems. Choo Choo says, I bought an HST from AP and the controls got screwed up for all the other HSTs. His scripts do weird things, I have to admit that. And the other reason that I didn't say that I'm not a fan of his stuff is that it affects other things. We are an 8 car, so we should be stopping at the next one. There is the Heritage Railway off to our right there. This is one of the places where you will see a Heritage Railway in Train Sim World. And doors. Let's go look at the Heritage Railway, shall we? I'll look at the back of my head too. But this is the carriage park for the Heritage Railway, but that's about all you see of it. That's all they've modelled in here. But there is more of it. In Train Sim World... Have they announced this? I think so. Maybe I should... No, maybe I'll just shut up, because I'm not actually sure. Greetings, BBIAJ. Benjamin and I spent a absolutely delightful day wandering around at the Didcot Steam Centre. And I did record a lot of that, so there will be... Why did my power go off again? There will be a combination of Didcot and interview. I'll probably splice 2 things together for it. One will be a podcast episode, and the other one will be an actual thing about Didcot itself out of that material. So we had a lot of fun. Michael watched and commented. Thank you very much, Michael. I haven't actually caught up on the comments yet this morning because I only got up about half an hour ago. Tam has also commented. Thank you very much. Lord Vectron says some good quality of life stuff coming in TSW-X. There is, yes. I would like more, though. Just being really clear. There are some things that have not been addressed. I have been very, very upfront with some of the individuals at DTG that there are some things that we need to do more about. And one thing I will say about this route, see this water, how it's a bit shit? Well, it's no better. The rest of the graphics are magnificent, but the water isn't better. I'd love to say it was. Wouldn't you love to say it was too? Let's get some thrash happening. Why do you see my video from, I think, Shildon, where I make a dick of myself and I do actually announce in my recording, I don't know if I'll put it in, but I announce in my recording that the prototype HST was in fact the APT, and then I'm thinking, I'm walking away from it going, no, it's not. But I didn't go back and re-record it because I was running out of time, because they were about to close. My opinion of Shildon is the same as I thought it would be. A bit shit. Sorry. But it's what happens when you take some magnificent operable railway equipment and hide it away in a museum with traditional curators, instead of people interested in operating it as a railway. And I think it is a massive shame. So some of those bits are too historically important to try and operate, and that includes the APT. But there are locomotives in both the NRM and at Locomotion that are operable. Now, some of the stuff from NRM does come out. Very pleased about that. But there's an awful lot of it that never sees the light of day. And I think that's a shame. There are some things they do that I do like. So the freight equipment that they've preserved is preserved with graffiti on it, which I reckon's cool because that's showing its working life. But they are museum people, not railway people. Just stop here at the very pretty Dawlish and try not to run over the pedestrian crossing. There we go. Perfect. Love it. Let's get into a point where we can... Ooh, there's going to be a gratuitous bridge shot by the sea, isn't there? Let's go out here. By this little marker buoy. Well, it's not really a buoy, is it? But it's a marker. Let's watch the train leave from here. This will be cool. Michael said the announcements are better than nothing. The announcements are actually quite good, but it's not a complete set of announcements. So there are a lot more that happen in real life, and I would love to hear those, but I agree. I am really, really, really happy to see what we've got. Let's get out of Dawlish. I'm pleased to say this is a lot prettier in Train Sim World than it is here, and the red cliffs are magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. The only thing that lets it down is the water. It's like this water here. If you notice, it's actually the foam's going through the seawall. Pleased to say that I did actually get to ride in an HST while I was there, and a 150. The HST was expected. I had actually worked a place that I could ride one. It was an unofficial ride because it was transfer of stock, but ride I did. I can't talk much about I had a few unofficial rides. I can't talk much about them because I'll get people in trouble, and I don't want to do that. Because they are good friends. But mostly those things were an excuse to spend time with some good friends, to be honest. And it was really cool. But there were also some official rides, and the 150 was an official ride. There was one sitting at York in a bay platform going to Bridgeton, I think that was Brigton, whatever it's called. And I was just chatting with the guard about wanting to ride a 150, and he goes, well, this one meets another train coming back the other way at the next station, and I'll talk to them and make sure they're there. And you just come out on one and ride back on the other one, so I did. That was kind of cool. Going to Tynemouth next. I think it's pronounced Tynemouth anyway. Power up in the tunnel, as you do. Lord Vectron... Maverick says announcements finally being in the base game is great. Yes, I agree. Choo Choo on a Train, they made the ongoing annual release resounding, this is what you will get. Well, you know, it is their choice. We'll say that, but it is up to them. Oops, too fast. How they release the game, it really is entirely up to them. But there's aspects that I'm happy about, aspects that I'm very much not. What's happening on Epic, I am very much not happy about. It doesn't impact me, being clear, but it impacts a section of the community for this game, and it needs to be addressed. I have gone into bat for a couple of content creators to see if I can get them moved to Steam. That won't be a practical answer for everybody, though. There's another little HST with its headlights coming on right as we get there. So that problem's existed for 20 years, and it's persisted into a different game. That's funny. Lord Vectron ditched the AP because of the dependency hell. Buy one pack and can't use half of it. Yeah, exactly. Or can't use it at all. Train views, that holiday cottage made out of couches. I didn't spot that. But there are some weird and wonderful holiday cottages and places in the UK, I have to say. Lord Vectron says there is an AI services that operate in that park in TSW if you're in Steam. Oh, okay, so it has been announced, yes. Not just AI services, Lord Vectron. There are player runaround service. So if that's your thing, if you want to do that, you can. As we slide into Tynemouth, into the false platform first. And then into the real one. There are a lot of platforms where one part of it is abandoned like that in the UK because of clearance reasons. Something that was acceptable when it was built in the 1800s is no longer acceptable from a health and safety perspective. Can't you? You want to stop? Yeah, you're going to stop before the signal. That'll do. Well, maybe you're not going to stop before the signal. Oh, maybe you did. Let's have a look. Did it stop before the signal? Yes, look at that. Look at that. Just before it. Perfect. And interestingly, that signal was actually green and has gone red, so my train has actually gone past the signal, it would seem. Even though, not really. Let's have a... No, so I haven't actually gone past it, have I? But I've triggered it. Because it was green when we were approaching it, which means I'm going to have the uncomfortable thing. Go into the head out view, the other one. No, that one. No, I've only got one view. Okay. We're going to have the uncomfortable thing of passing a signal at red now, so we'll just ignore it. We'll just completely ignore that it's even there, that it's even a thing. Benjamin says was at DidCon again yesterday for the Steam Gala. I hope it was good. Hope you enjoyed it. I would have liked to have stayed for that, but, you know, I ran out of leave and ran out of money. It's normal. Vectron says my biggest feature request is the ability to select the train for services, like being able to choose the train bell or any of the named 86s or 87s. That would be cool. Maybe I should create a channel in... a sub-channel in TSW in Discord for people to be able to voice requests. Is that a good idea? Sounds like a good idea. Because it won't get drowned out like the DTG ones do. Yes, they get drowned very quickly. What I'd love to have is shifts on TSW, where you get a list of trains that you're going to run. I reckon that would be great, because in the world of commuter rail, you don't necessarily take the train back that you took out, because you might go onto a break and then you have a different train going back. This is very common. Off to Newton Abbot. We've got a few miles to Newton Abbot, so we can power on a little. This route is a driver's route. It's not one that you can just roar your way through at full speed. So you do have to keep on top of it. It's curved, it's got gradients, it's grouse. Vectron, I always talked about that. Maverick says, I'll finish up your podcast episode with Richie and Casual today. I wasn't able to finish it yesterday. It's quite long. And that's an edited version. It was actually longer than that. I took about 40 minutes of stuff out because we were just bullshitting. How unusual for a bunch of boys to be just bullshitting. That never happens. Maverick says the scenery on this route hasn't aged that badly. Actually, a question about the podcasts. I've been putting videos up on Spotify, but I'm thinking about changing that approach because I'd like people to watch the videos on YouTube, and I'll put up audio only on Spotify. And I was curious what people would think about that. So if you have thoughts, let me know. Maverick says this scenery has not aged that badly. No, it's actually pretty good for TSC, to be honest. TSC is, you know, known for its great scenery, and this is actually pretty decent. Am quite enjoying, having been away from it for nearly 4 weeks, the firmness of the levers on the TSC-X controller. It just has a nice feel to it. I can't see that cab again. So we come rolling in, a little while to go for Newton Abbott at this point. But as I was mentioning, we've got a speed limit change coming up. There are a lot of these, so it is a driver's route. There are 2 safety systems operating in here. We're only getting one of them in TSW though. In this one there's AWS, but there's also ATP, which thanks to Amy, it was Amy who educated me on ATP. So that actually is at play here. And I didn't know that any of the any of the games supported it, but they do. Vectron says the foam is just a 2D texture shifting around. Yeah, it is. In TSW, it's actually clouds. If you go and hover over it, you can see that it is clouds. It's a quite interesting way to do it. But I think it could be better. I have voiced that I think the water scenery, they need to do something better for water, because this is a place of storms. It's okay for a nice, pretty summer's day, but if you're rolling through here in a storm, that water should be crashing around. And Unreal's capable of that. I don't know if it's capable over the kind of distances that would need to be for Train Sim World. So who knows? Hello, Southwestern. Hello, Clawzord227. I beg your pardon. Train View says I'm going on holiday to Dawlish the week after the TSW6 releases. I'm really happy that you're going to Dawlish. I'm not so happy that you won't get to play TSW for a while, unless you take it with you. Train Spotter Guy, hello. It's pronounced tin mouth, but you say mouth as moof, so tin moof. Okay, tin moof. I'll go with that. That sounds promising. As we approach Newton Abbott, and we have a diversion here. It's a fairly high-speed diversion, but we need to stop anyway, so it's fine. Hello, Southwestern, if I haven't said that already. Those coaches at Dawlish Warren are holiday coaches. Ah, holiday cottages. Oh, we use coaches, not couches. Okay. Clawzord227 has pre-ordered the deluxe edition. That's cool. I hope you enjoy all of the bits and pieces that you get with it. My opinions are based on a lot of slideshows, and I got about probably 15 minutes in each of the 150, the Arrow, and I got about 10 minutes in the cross country. Can we stop train, please? Stop. Thank you. Good. Good. I think we're mostly in the platform. Be okay. Let's have a look. Yes, that's perfect, actually, because the coaches are in the platform. And I watched other people who were playing as well, because we all had to take turns naturally. There were about, I don't know if you've seen the photos, but they're probably a good 35, 40 people at Dovetail. So the amount of time, there was only four. No, there were three. There were three workstations that we could have a play on, and we were rotating through those, and one Xbox. So I got to see a lot of the German route on the Xbox, because the German players didn't use the workstations very much. They congregated on the Xbox and just sort of monopolised it and just kept taking turns so they could run the whole route. Tintin did manage to get back there later in the evening and play most of this route, and I sat next to him and watched, so that was good. Off we go to Torquay. Torquay is a place that we have in, well, it's near Melbourne, it's off the city of Geelong. Maverick says, are quite right about the random signal times and track speed limits. Does that mean every run is going to make me late due to the AI getting stopped at signals too? It does impact the AI, but it is random. It does not happen very often. Right? It's a very low-level thing. It's meant to just pop up on the odd occasion. It should not happen on every run. There have been some improvements to the dispatcher to cope with it. It's just the next level up from what was done for free roam. So expect the unexpected, as they say. Victron says you can disable it or change the occurrence rate. Low, medium, high. Yes, you can. Rails says don't forget they need to do the brake tests before departing. Not necessarily, Rails. Depends on the operator. Normally you only do a brake test at the start of the day. When you're taking over a train from someone else, you would not normally do it because you don't have time. You're hopping in at a station and the train's due out in 20 seconds. So you just don't have time to do stuff like that in commuter rail. Maverick, thanks, Vectron. Maverick says, if it's a Spotify podcast and I listen to it and don't watch it, it sounds like a good idea. Yeah, that's what my other half said. Hello, Pete. How are you? Should I call Pete out for the good work he does? Maybe he doesn't want me to. Oops, I'm speeding. Naughty me. Naughty. Very naughty. I love the way the amps just drop. It's like, no, that's not realistic. Train Views has pre-ordered Deluxe as well. Very good. And so has Michael ordered the Deluxe edition. Fantastic that you're able to do that this year, Mike. So it's actually awesome, because I know as a stark contrast to last year where you were concerned about work and surviving, basically. I'm still speeding because I'm still naughty. Well, we're just going to live with it now. We're just going to keep doing it. Train View says I go on holiday on the 4th of October. Hope you enjoy your holiday. Hope you get to visit some of the heritage lines down around the coast down there and just enjoy yourself on the coast. I hope it's nice weather for you. I don't know what the weather's like at that time of year. Hopefully it's good. So we make our way towards Torquay and we start going uphill, which is convenient because I am still speeding and gravity is helping. Here's another little pacer. Oh. Maverick says free starter pack for him. That's okay. I know you're hanging out for the Aizu Wakamatsu Tadami line. So am I, to be honest. I'm looking forward to Riviera in this pack the most. Morristown is probably the next most interesting to me. Leipzig is not very interesting to me, but I'll play it. Because I do tend to play pretty much everything. We are not stopping here at this phantom platform. And I'm not speeding anymore, look at that, gravity helped. And I'm not paying attention. But we have a 45 zone coming up, so I probably shouldn't accelerate, we'll just leave it. Maverick says, Torquay, the domain of Basil Fawlty, if anyone gets that reference. Indeed, Fawlty Towers. which is of course pronounced Faulty Towers, but that's okay. I won't elaborate what Pete does because I don't know if he actually wants people to know, but Pete does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Let's put it that way. So, challenging job. Michael says, things last year were definitely not great. This year's better, but not cheap. Yes, it's not cheap at all. Hello, Richie Rail. How are you? Richie is also putting up that, in fact, it has put up that episode. And I have to say, my friend, looking at the view count, you have done awesomely well. If you're not familiar with Richie, please check out his channel. Maverick as well. Maverick also runs a channel. Richie is, I think fair to say, someone that I coaxed into taking the next step. He was already starting to do stuff, and I just gave him a nudge. And I'm glad I did, because he's progressing so awesomely. Your personality and the way you present things and the way you promote things is clearly something the community desired a lot of, which is fantastic. Come off the juices, because even though we are in a 45, we do have 30 coming up soon. And we are starting to go downhill. Actually, we haven't crested the hill yet. I'll go back on the juices for a little while. Rails says 25 has been better than 24. I'm glad to hear that, mate. I'm glad to hear that. I know life is settling a little for you. Rails, I think you've talked about it in the chat, so I don't think I'm revealing anything, but Rails suffers from a very common affliction for people, something that many people have in varying degrees. And lately, I think you're probably getting a little bit of a feeling of control, which is good. As he accelerates beyond terrible. Richie says he is sleepy, should be asleep. Yes, I know that feeling sometimes. Maverick says trying to run a YouTube channel is trying to run a badly maintained internal combustion engine. Ah, they have their moments. I think to anybody who is producing content, don't let the content drive you. Have fun, says he, not slowing down in time. And we're not stopping in this station anyway, so we're going to roll through this one. Roll through, is it Tor or Tory? I could say something funny about rolling through Tory, because I know someone named Tory who hates my guts. Rolling over Tory might be a better description, but that's okay. I have slowed down too much now, but we won't let that worry us, no. Yeah, but as I was saying, don't let the content drive you. Let the fun drive you. So if things are going great, awesome. If things aren't going great, yes, you need to change what you're doing, but don't change away from something that's fun for you, because if you aren't being your genuine self on a channel, it will impact you mentally in the long run. We have seen that with people like our New Zealand friend, who I think currently goes by the name Taranga, train spotter from Taranga. He's not as verbally violent anymore. So look after yourself as a content creator. And if as a creator you are feeling the pinch, or anybody for that matter, any kind of gamer for that matter, can feel the feel the moment. Just try to slow this thing down. Because we have arrived at Torquay. Quite a nice station, actually. It's pretty. It's time to scare the shit out of this bloke. As you do. Not that you'd not notice an HST coming up behind you, to be honest. They're quite loud. If you're feeling a pinch, there is the campaign against living miserably. They are primarily aimed at gamers. Alright, doors. Let's have a look at Torquay. It's quite a pretty station. You're going to walk straight into that pole, mate. Just be careful. Please join the front portion of the train. There's a lot of you on this platform. Must be a beachside suburb thing. How close to the beach are we? Very. So it is a seaside suburb, like it is, or a seaside town, I should say, like our Torquay is as well. Almost time to go. Train spotter guy, Torquay is your hometown. Going to be amazing to stop at your home station when it releases for early access on the 25th. Enjoy that. So you live at this very nice spot, which is a cool thing. I used to visit Torquay, our Torquay, quite a bit. So I haven't for a long time. My other half's at the time, Bestie, had a farm up there. So we used to go and visit her sometimes. Richie says, I appreciate that, peeps. Same to be myself. You are yourself. He very much is, I have to say. What you see is what you get. About the only thing you don't experience on stream that I got to experience at the North Yorkshire Moors Railway was the extent of Richie's ability to fart. Fortunately, he never let one go in the carriage, but he did leave a present in Casual's car that I have to say was still there when we came back 8 hours later. It was still waiting for us, going, hi, Richie. Spectron says, one of my Mrs. friends became an influencer on Instagram. Everything became content. Yes, it does. People used to call me an influencer on Instagram, but I was influencing people to be more into photography. I wasn't influencing for any products or anything like that. I was just influencing that people continue to enjoy the art of photography. But I don't really do that anymore because I couldn't be bothered. It became like many things like that. Ooh, you can actually see through those tracks. Who said that? It became like many things. It just became a ball of politics. So leading that group stopped being fun, basically. And when it stops being fun, you stop doing it. Rail says he's still controversial. Yeah, he is, but nowhere near. He's not angry anymore. Now he's just saying what he feels. He used to be angry, and it was starting to make him actually angry, not just pretending to be angry. Says he, speeding, because he's naughty and we're going downhill. As we approach Paynton. Maverick says, good advice. Whack the big button. It's nice to have a big button. Aussie SCR player, I already know what I'm doing with 300 Aussie dollars after I get a new laptop near the end of next year. 300, that's a lot. Are you buying a lot of things? Oh, one of these. Is that what you're aiming at? It is a good device. Maverick says, I'm heading to Wisconsin in under 2 weeks. Does anyone know a good place to train spot in that area? Let me think and get back to you. I have been to Wisconsin. Let me have a bit of think about it. I'll get back to you on Discord. Rails may be able to help. It's not that far from him. It's not quite near him, but it's not that far either. So he might have some ideas for you. Richie says, can't wait to play this in Train Sim World again. Indeed. We haven't had any word yet on when we're getting it, but hopefully it's not too far away. Because I have a lot of tutorials to make, and I want to make sure that I've been able to play through all of the routes so I can actually answer your questions. Because I suspect there'll be plenty. Last year was a disaster because we got it when the early access opened. So it was a mad scramble to make tutorials for I think 8 or 9. Why are those gates open? That's a train driver's nightmare, approaching a set of gates that's open. On our railway, you actually have to stop when they're like that. You have to stop and wait 20 seconds before you roll through the crossing. Welcome to Paynton. Maverick laughs his ass off. Richie says, hey, at least I waited until the end of the car journey. Yes, you did hold it until the end. I'll appreciate that. I suppose what we should rejoice in is that there won't be any bugs alive in Casual's car because you gassed them. There we go. Doors. And that's the end of this run, I'm pretty sure. The line does go on into a little yard here. I'm pretty sure that's the end of this. Yes, pick up patients from Peyton. Does anybody... I haven't looked into this yet. Is this where the Heritage Line starts? Because I know the scenery is not great in the TSC line as it goes around here, but I assume that's the Heritage Line continuing. I haven't had a moment to really look into how that works yet, but I know they share a platform here, so I assume that just goes on from there. Aussie SCR player says, I wonder how much storage the free starter pack for TSW-6 will take up. If you keep TSW-5, you'll need to worry about the storage, and it's not that much. It'll be about the same as TSW-5 again. You have completed the scenario. Woo-hoo. No current destination. I think we'll give that a thumbs up. I quite like that one. So that was a workshop scenario. It was that one. So they don't say who they're by or anything useful like that. So, oh, Blue Fox. Sorry, it does say who it's by. I'm a liar. But Blue Fox. Nice scenario, Blue Fox. I have got another one, so if we're running shy of things to do, we can come back to that one. But let's pop into Korea and live dangerously and run another thing without resetting. Let us live dangerously. It'll probably crash. That's okay. Riviera Line, and we're going to run the DMU. Which one will we do? Busy Day on the Coast. That sounds like fun. We'll do that one. Start. This is a Pacer, which I have not been in before, but that's okay. The lever map does not exist. Would you like to select one of these maps? Okay. Class 143. Well, I don't know what they are. But anyway. Driver, today you'll be driving a 143 along the coast. Careful when you get to Newton Abbott, as delayed service will be running in front of you. Keep an eye out for red and yellow signals and be prepared to stop. We are in the little Pacer, of course. If I can see it, there it is. We're at Dawlish. Of course, it's summertime, so the ladies are about. Not a fan of these things that are appearing. Doors left. It's something to do with scripting on this locomotive. People did things like that at one point, and I'm glad they don't do it anymore. Here at Dawlish. Hello. It's time for us to go. So you miss out, lady. Sorry. We get going in our little Pacer. Slightly different run than the HST. Bit of reverb across the bridge. It'll only take, it won't take a lot. The Aussie SCR player. Won't take heaps. I can't tell you the exact size because I haven't got it yet. If you start buying routes, you're going to run out of that 20 gig very quickly. Hello, Leon Parson. I am okay. I hope you're okay as well. Don't seem to have instrument lights in this thing. It's marker lights, headlights. Do I have a switch for instrument lights somewhere? I'm not seeing anything. Perhaps we just don't have them. Cab lights. Oh well. Here's what it is. It's a Pacer. We're going to Tynemouth. Pete says, I find your tutorials superb, easy to follow, and done at a decent pace. Thank you. They're a little bit formulaic these days, because I found a way that seems to work for people, and I've stuck with it. But it works for me too, to do them that way. So glad to hear that they are useful. Richie says, did you see the video of a dog on a railway crossing in the Riviera Line? I've seen it pop up, but I haven't watched it yet. So, yes, I will. I've been catching up on lots of other stuff that I watch on the YouTube. You can see our little barnacle of a train. Massive 2-car bus. And it stops about as well as it accelerates. It's probably going to be okay though, I think. Kind of feels okay. Leon says, nice train ride. It is. Lord Vectron says, this as far as TSW-X will run. TSW does go to Paynton. Yes, it has 2 destinations. Paynton is a branch. So there's 2 different destinations in the route. Richie says, that's the Dartmouth Railway. Cool. I'm going to have to put that on my list for next year. So next year, if it happens, is mostly going to revolve around Scotland and Ireland, because that's where the other half wants to go. But I kind of want to go here. And this is not terribly far from where Henters lives, actually. I was quite close to it this year. But you have to limit the places you're going to on a holiday, or it just becomes too much of a burden moving around all the time. And there'll be less moving around than I normally do when I've got Christine with me, because she's not a fan of that. She likes to settle in a place for a period and explore from that place, which is fine with me. And in Scotland and Ireland, we'll probably do car rather than train a lot. But I think in England, we'll probably still do train. There's no guarantee it happens, of course, because it's all about the money. But we has plans. We just have to save up a lot. It doesn't actually cost that much more to have 2 people on a holiday than 1. So it's not going to be a huge burden. It's not cheap by any means, but, you know, you work your ass off every day. It's worth rewarding yourself too. Maverick says Taranga has not only stopped being so angry, he's also been pretty open about his mental health issues, which does explain a lot. Yeah, indeed. Look, I've talked to him on and off away from YouTube. He actually is quite a cool person. He's got a lot of knowledge of railways. So I think he's okay. No tail lights. I did see headlights, but there's no tail lights. Can I turn them on? Did that turn them on or off? I put headlights on. Ah! Okay, we now have headlights and tail lights. Very good. Very good indeed. Let's give it all the juices. Transport East Anglia, hello to you. The Aussie SCR player doesn't have TSW5. Rails says nice. 143619 is actually for sale right now, so you can buy yourself a Pacer. Magnificent. You can go and buy yourself an actual Pacer. Maverick says just trains need to make a class 143 game plaque for TSW. I believe they are making something. Not letting the cat out of the bag. I don't know about a gameplay pack. Aussie SCR player says, wait, what? Pacer for sale? How much? It won't be a lot. It won't be a lot at all. Maverick says there's Slinger, Duplainville, and so much more. That's cool. So you actually know some good spots. That's pleasing, Rails. Thank you for helping out, Maverick. Off to Newton Abbott. Rails says, just don't expect it to be your tour guide, bro, but no worries. Richie says you must come back to Yorkshire. There's some castles on shore. Oh, look, I'm sure that will happen, because one thing I haven't done is actually explored north of Yorkshire. And I do want to do that. Well, kind of have, I suppose, because there's Whitby, but I wouldn't say I've explored that area. I've just been there. The only thing that worries her about Yorkshire and Leeds is there's this British cop show that we sometimes watch, and it's all about the miscreants of Yorkshire and Leeds. But I have explained to her that it's not like that, really. Like everywhere, there are places that have their moments, but most places are actually okay. rolling along towards Newton Abbot. This camera is a feature I'd like in TSW. It's just nice to have a camera that just follows you and just does cinematic-y things. Ooh, the lights went off. Bad lod. Rails says, ABBA reference, kinda. The Aussie SCR players has a weird thought yesterday, but 3 Class 153s, bring them to Queensland, Australia, and convert them to narrow gauge and do rail tours. You could. Are you familiar with the Sunlander? That's actually very similar to a Pacer, the Sunlander. Rails says, DC 4260 Productions is interesting. Isn't everyone? I bet he could become the next CEO of Dovetail. I doubt that. Need a lot of money. Rails says the cab looks like an AP enhancement pack. No. It is a normal unit. Maverick is heading off to church. Fair enough. Have fun. It's not something I do, but that's okay. Each to his own. I'd rather spend my Sunday morning doing this with you. Rails says, is the Santa Fe pack still in development after this whole time? Chicago trip when in 20 years? Mate, I'm not coming near the United States until you get rid of the Oompa Loompa. I am just not going there in the current political climate. Not a chance. Rails says comedic criminals in movies are something like Tim Curry. I don't know who Tim Curry is. Lord Vectron says, I also miss this camera. Indeed, it's a good one. Richie says, do a coastal trip between Bridlington to Saltburn via Whitby and Scarborough. It's a really nice run. Thank you for the recommendation. We should chat closer to the time, Richie, because you and Shan potentially, you know, we meet up somewhere. Could be cool. Doesn't even have to be railways. That Aussie says, I need to go to Bunnings today, but I don't want to go out. Let's actually look. I'd go out now because it's, if you're in Melbourne, it's going to be quite... Actually, no, I think you're in Queensland, don't you? I was going to say, if you're in Melbourne, it's going to storm soon. It's actually quite pleasant in Melbourne this morning. It's quite warm. It's like 18, 19 degrees or something. I've actually got the house doors open at the moment to get some fresh air through the house. Richie says I could even be showing you a certain place that I will be having a special day at. Ah! Yes, Richie does have a very special day coming up soon. And I hope that goes absolutely really well and is the start of many, many, many years together. For those who don't know, congratulations to Richie. He and Shan are getting married in the not too distant future. I won't say when or where because no one needs that, but it's not far. Not far at all. Is that going to be close enough? Will it let me open the doors? Yep, it will. It's kind of amusing to me that it stops all the way up here when the station's all the way down there, because in reality they'd stop next to the station. They really would. Aussie says, I know all about the Sunlander. Never been out of the Wide Bay Burnett yet, but I've never needed to. Ah, travel. It's good for you. I used to think travel was silly, but now I get it. Ooh, almost got kicked out of the game then, because I started with the doors open, even though it had told me the doors were shut. So is this pronounced Tor or Tory? Rail says, not I. Michael says, bye Maverick. Pete says, careful, Rich will be inviting you on his honeymoon. I don't think so. I don't think so. That's where the first start parts of fighting for the rest of your life start. Rail says, bro has never seen Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Well, actually I have, but, you know, I didn't keep it in my head. Choo Choo says, Tim Curry, Rocky Horror. Rail says, dude, this is as bad as people say. They're just stupid. No, it is as bad as people say. It really is. The rolling back of... I'm not going to get into politics. No politics on the stream. If you want to chat outside the stream in Discord, by all means, let's do. And I'll tell you why it's bad. Bad for your country and bad for the world. But that's okay. Ooh, that signal was red and is now green. Aussie SCR player says, I'll say I live in a city with a steam train and it's important to Queensland Rail. Excellent. Do you live in the city where the Garrett lives? So, what's it? Can't remember the name of the city. Where the big Garrett lives. Robina? Robe? No, that's South Australia. It's been a while. I know what you mean. It's in here. It's just lost. Trainview says, hello again, I met you and Jamie at the Norfolk Railway. You did indeed. That was quite an interesting moment, to be honest, where this young fella, Trainviews, came up with his dad and his mum sitting at the table and goes, they go, they think you know you two. Because Jamie from Dovetail and I were together over the weekend of North Norfolk's Summer Gala. And Trainviews is like, hang on, I know those two. No, it's good to meet you. Train Spotter Guy says, I know who you mean by Oompa Loompa and understand you won't visit for political reasons, which is fine. Yes. Well, it's not just political reasons. This country's not amazing right now. And to be honest, foreign visitors... you'll have your challenges getting in if you've ever said anything anywhere. You'll have your challenges. Rails retracted his messages. Richie says that would be great. Certainly sort something. Rail says, Oompa Loompa. What the fuck is that? Go and watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You'll recognise the Oompa Loompa. Lord Vectron says, I have a security camera that has a pink tint, possibly an IR filter thing stuck. Need to do a hard reset on it first to confirm the fault on the tallest point and need physical access to reset. Yeah, they're fun. I've got one that's shit itself and I have to run a new cable to it because mice ate it. Yay. Should get off my ass and do that, actually. I've actually got a cable sitting in the garage that I could run to it, but it means pulling a lot of shit out of the wall too, because they run in a bundle in the wall and they got tangled up when I ran them, and the only way I'm getting that out of there to get another cable in is to pull the whole bundle out and untangle it and put it back down again. So that's not something that I'm really looking forward to be honest. Rail says, I don't exactly need to know, but good luck, Richie. You've got this, man. Michael says, congrats to Richie. Got a yellow. Just come off the juices. We'll let gravity deal with the 45 though for the moment. because I think it's going to quite admirably. Looking at the speedo, it is coming down nicely, all by its little lonesome. Richie says it's scarily close. Thank you very much. It is scarily close, but you know, it's okay. I assume you do like Shan, because, you know, if you like Shan, you're fine. And if you like you, you're fine. It's all good. I'm sure you know each other by now. Rail says, yeah, no shit. Transporter guy says, Rail's vanilla Trump. Yes. The Aussie SCR player says it's the place where most of the current Queensland rail rolling stock was made. So somewhere near Brisbane. Train View says it was good to meet you too. Richie Rail says, I know you don't want to discuss politics. Uh-oh. Did I spad? What? What? Did I really? Oh. What a wanker. Let's do that again then. Did I really spad then? I guess I must have. Where's the train? Well, that was weird. Okay. We're back here at Dawlish. We're in control, honest. No, that one's wipers. How do I turn it off now? That way. There we go. Headlights. I couldn't remember how I'd programmed all the buttons and things. I'm sure I've got a door button for TSC. Spadalicious. Never mind. We get to drive the scenery again. It's good, honest. I heard the doors shut that time. At least I got the lights on this time. It's amazing how many of these are actually still in operational use around the railways. The original benches that are, in some cases, 100 years old, sometimes more. Party on, dude! Richie says, I know you don't want to discuss politics, you see the Bob Catter stuff. Oh, he's an interesting person. He's a very interesting person. He's dead set against immigration, but his family are really recent immigrants. He's a very interesting individual, some would say. The Aussie SCR player, I love 5G Telstra Wi-Fi with a hot portable Netgear. Okay. Transporter guy says South West Railway, formerly South West Trains, used to run services from Paynton as well. Cool. Lord Vectron 4 says I aren't spending any time on it, Richie Rail, because every 3 months a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in Queensland. You're just waiting, right? Michael Dewberry says, Spad, yes. The Aussie SCR player says, really, that Downer facility is in a city near UNESCO Sand Island and has a new rail facility being built like 20 minutes north. Cool. We'll keep Max Juices on for the moment. Andy! Hello, Andy. How are you? Andy runs another YouTube channel. All about trains, largely German, but he does play other ones as well. So it's quite an entertaining guy to watch. Just start de-juicing for Tynemouth coming up. This time for sure, Ollie. Rail says immigration laws are ass. Immigration is a vexing topic, okay? I don't know what the answer is to the world's problems. I don't. It's difficult, really hard. I know in the UK, they've got like 10,000 people a day arriving from various nations, and it's just going to be hard to deal with forever. Answer? Don't know. It's difficult. Trainview says, I can't wait for the HST livery pack and the GWE remaster. The GWE remaster will be good. I kind of have the feeling it keeps suffering from feature creep, because I know they've added in all the TSW-X stuff into it. Could have come out earlier, maybe. Don't know. But it is just one guy as well, so who knows. But yes, it should be good. Pete says, saw his outburst was so funny. He says, never heard of him until the recent controversy. Oh, he's a weird one, all right. He is an absolute weird one. It is almost as funny as what's happening in the UK with people painting the St. George Cross everywhere, because the St. George Cross is actually French. I hate to say that. It was introduced to England by a king who was actually French after you were conquered. So it's kind of funny that they're using it for patriotic things, but that's okay. That's fine. Richie says, oh, I've done that. Rail says people should have the right to move into the US even if they're not terrorists. Even if they're not terrorists. I think I want to hang around outside and make sure the doors are actually shut. Ooh, that's a little surreal. Away we go from Tynemouth, on our way to Paynton. Pete says, sorry, his outburst so funny. Andy says, seen a doco about the elephant trains used in Australia, looked very interesting. A bit like the NL one with the cab on top. Where are they? I don't think I've seen any trains here with a cab on top. Unless they're new. The Aussie SCA player says 2 children dead at a targeted Melbourne stabbing attack. Yeah, that's normal, mate. Yay, gang warfare. And when they say children, it's because they're not allowed to say gang members anymore. Because, you know, politically correct. I mean, one gang attacking another one, usually. And they are children, but they're evil children. Richie says Tynemouth is pronounced Tinmouth. Really? Okay. It says even people I don't like should also deserve for their voice to be heard. Yes. Everyone has the right to say what they think. Everyone else has the right to not listen to them if they don't want to. But being able to say things is important. Even if what you have to say is vastly distasteful for the majority, you should still be allowed to say it. It's pretty simple. The Aussie SCR players, we've noticed how the abbreviation for the Queensland Rail New Generation rolling stock sometimes sounds like a certain slur. I don't know what the abbreviation is. Don't know. Andy says, still configuring my TSC-X controller. Way too much the amount of stuff I have for TSC. I run it pretty simply. I don't generally change the lever maps, so I just keep them the same. I did adopt a Pacer lever map because it seems to work nicely, but most of the time I don't bother. And as you can tell, I put very professional labels on it with sticky tape. I should do some proper labels at some point. The other half actually has got a labelling machine. Newton Abbott's coming up. Rail says, why introduce the constitutional rights if people won't be heard? Well, no, you don't have to be heard, but you have to be able to say. It's important. But you don't have to be heard. That's where people have a choice. They don't have to listen to you. And say autistic or not, at least I'm not as smart as Elon Musk, but still smart either way. I don't know that Elon's all that smart, to be honest. He's not an idiot. It's time to come off the juices because we have to stop shortly at Newton Abbott. Rail says, she says, right then, considering it's almost 1 AM off to sleep. Good night, Richie Rail. Have a good sleep, mate. And in the unlikely event I don't talk to you beforehand, I hope the day goes magnificently well. Pete says, night, Richie. Rail says, kids listening to rap even if they live in the suburbs is wild. Why? Rail says, when I use the word gang, I say it's my rail fan gang, not a gang in the hood. Yeah. There are many uses for words. Many uses. They don't all have bad connotations. Can't say rap's something I listen to, but you know. Rail says, didn't Elon disclose his disability interview once? Oh, I have no idea. I don't watch the guy. Not interested in Elon. Michael says, night to Richie. Aussie SR player says, Lakeside Rail, British Railway and Stepford County Railway are very good Roblox train games. I'm actually quite impressed with what Roblox train games actually managed to do. I've never got into British Railway. It doesn't like me. For whatever reason. It just doesn't work for me. Life, I suppose. Just rolling into Newton Abbott. Or Newton Abbott, I think people say. Once again, getting close to the place where I spattered. Once again. And our little glorified bus. Aussie SR player says, I know, BR is silly sometimes. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. It's probably because I haven't bothered learning enough about it. That wouldn't surprise me very much. Chat is dead, says the Aussie SCR player. That happens sometimes. People are welcome to chat again, of course. It'll pick up again. Sometimes it's nutty, sometimes it's not. Sometimes people sit quiet, sometimes they don't. All options are perfectly valid. Let's see if I can manage to not spad this time, huh? So we wait for the doors to close. And off we go in our little bus. I always thought the passengers would be random, but they're not. They're actually the same ones, aren't they? Aussie SCR player is going off for food. Fair enough. Perhaps we'll see you when you've had some munchies. Andy says the 2000 class and 2100 class with diesel multiple units operated in the Adelaide Rail network between 1980 and 2015. They were built by Coming in Granville. Yeah, okay. Six have been preserved, the rest have been scrapped. I wonder what we called them, because I don't recall anything called an elephant. We had like red hens, blue hens, mud hens. They all had names like that. Let me googly. And while I'm Googling, I'm going to spat again, aren't I? I'm just going to finish Googling. Thanks for sending me off into Googly land. Is that what they are? Elephant rail cars. I don't think the control system's on the top. But anyway, let's play a different one. Oh, I shouldn't have gone off Googling then, should I? That was just a really poor thing to do. That's fine. Storm consequences. Here we go. Hey, there is an HST on the route. Oh, let's switch over and do an HST then. That was really bad timing. That's okay. I didn't know there was an actual HST service in here. So where does this one go? Oh, it's pretty much the same as the workshop one. I think this is the workshop one. Isn't this the one we played? I think it is. Let's get out of here. It's the one we played. Let's do it. Yeah, see? It's already got a green thing on it. Why did it turn up in Korea? That's so weird. All right, storm consequences. Let's go. And they were called Jumbos. I can't do anything about the noise, sorry. Because I'm not in the train yet. Let me have the train so I can stop this god-awful beeping. That was awful. That was just terrible. Let's get some brakes on. Is there a slow mode for the wipers? Just on and off. Okay. That's a terrible wiper. It's annoying. Thank you, Michael. Andy says, sorry, my bet. Yes. You're slowly feeling better. Going to monitor your temperature in case you have another headache. Yeah, do that. Andy says, yep, I drove this one. Cool. Oh, we've got 3 this time. Four, actually. Clearly I'm good at mathing today. Oh, what? I'm an idiot. I should just stop this stream now, shouldn't I? Just stop it and walk away. I really should. I've just turned the game down so you don't have to listen to that noise. Alright, I can turn the game back up now. Okay. Has this thing got a DRA? Right, there we go. We're safe now. I can't go anywhere now because DRA's on. Yeah, clearly my day-to-day. Thanks, Michael, Andy, Vectron. I don't know why your command hasn't worked, Vectron. I think Nightbot's gone to sleep. So we'll just continue to sit here. Waiting. Waiting. Waiting some more. More waiting. We'll turn that wiper off while we wait because it's annoying. I assume we're waiting for that Pacer that left on the to our right, and we're going to be following it all the way. Probably. It would help if there was a signal aspect on the HUD. All right, DRA off. Why aren't you releasing? Do you still think the doors are still open or something silly or reverser not right? You are in forwards. You going to release the brakes when I power? No. I think its script is confused. Let's try and open the doors again. And close them again. Just have to wait for them to close now. Alright, let's see if that makes any difference. Well, it got us down one step. They are slowly coming off, I think. Yeah, yeah, they are very slowly bleeding off. Let's try it. They are still on, but we are able to move. Okay. I don't know. And he says, I don't know if there's a signal aspect on the advanced settings in the TSC program, speed changes and so on are there. Yeah, there are some things that you can play with. There you go, the brakes have finally come off. Hopefully they'll work when we need them. Things may have gotten a tad confused there. I think using DRA probably broke their script, would be my bet. We still don't seem to be powering too well, even for a Pacer, but, you know, we'll live with it. No, it's not my signal. It's okay. Let's just see if the brakes are going to work. Yeah, seems so. Seems to be working. Fire over. It's getting dark. Maybe that thunderstorm they were promising is here. Oh, railway door smoke. It's a podcast made by Andy, different Andy, and Hentus, if you know them. They have some very interesting guests on. So look it up if you haven't seen it. If anybody wants a link, let me know and I'll drop one in the chat. Exeter St. Thomas. Andy says, in the heart of Europe, it is dark now, 2:10 in the morning. Well, it should be dark then, shouldn't it? Thank you very much to my members and the people who have subscribed to the channel. If you're watching now and you're not a subscriber, have a bit of a contemplate. It's always appreciated to get new subscribers. Signal is green, good. And away we go. Full power on the poor little Pacer. Interesting halo effect from the headlights. Don't know if I've ever seen that before in this game. They must be those really badly performing, blooming shadow casting lights. Coming up on 100 zone, I don't see that happening in a Pacer somehow. So we'll go. We do have all the juices on. All the juices, no brakes. We're halfway to the speed limit. It's probably about as good as it's going to get in a Pacer. It is a tad dark out in the environs today. I like the little active things we get in TSC. I wish we had that in TSW. I would like to see active scenery elements in TSW. I need to clean my desk. It's disgusting. I just kind of put stuff everywhere when I was getting ready to go on holidays, and I haven't tidied it up again since coming back, and I need to. Starcross, a little while away. With the world's noisiest windscreen wipers. I'm back on my railway on this coming Friday. I'm due to fire 14A according to the roster. One of our little locos that's been out of action for, I think, going on 10 years is, in theory, back in service on Saturday. 6A will be back, a little green one, or as we often call it, Kerbet the Train. Hello, Andy Burbridge, welcome. You're from Scarborough. Now, is that Scarborough, WA, or Scarborough in the UK? It's always a weird camera angle. UK. I did enjoy my day in York. I had quite a few days in York, actually. I was there for 3 nights this year. York is quite a nice city. We're wandering around the walls. I was reading through the signage up on the walls, and to my amusement, one of the towers is called Bitch Daughter Tower. Clearly, the king or lord of the moment really liked her. I assume that's where he kept her locked up. I don't know why I was slowing down that much then. There you go. I don't seem to have a map for the low horn on this one, only the high horn. I don't know if the... It doesn't seem to have a low horn, okay, despite the sticker. Rolling up on Starcross. Yeah, so in York I up to Shildon on the first day for locomotion and my date with Flying Scotsman. And then the next day was North Yorkshire Moors with Richie and Casual. And the day after that, I was wandering the walls, and I met with York's Andy, different Andy though, I think, and his other half, and Dave Randall. Went to the National Museum of Rail, visited the Inspiration 200 train, which wasn't as wanky as I thought it would be. It's clearly aimed at children, but it's got enough entertainment in it for adults as well, so it was actually okay. It's kind of fun. Same Andy, there you go. So the Andy. How did things go that night? Did you find a driver? And I'm terrible at names. I've forgotten your other half's name. Abby, that's right. Yeah, we tried to meet up the year before, but it didn't quite work out that well because I stayed at Grossmont too long and you had to go back to work, unfortunately. But we got to meet up this year, which is good. There's no red signals, are there? No, no, good. See, even I can learn. Yeah, that was quite a big walk that day. I think we did about 26,000 steps or something crazy. Had some coffee and cake. We go to Dawlish Warren. Someone up there. Look. Okay. The little things you spot occasionally in this game. You've woken up Nightbot, the Aussie SCR player. So I know it's early, but if we start considering TSW7, what do you want to see? What features would you want? I'd like to see a shift concept that gives you some purpose for your driving day. Lord Vectron says some timetables like Southeastern High Speed have depot runs. I think shifts would be a good idea. Cold start in the locos and get into platforms and do a run. That would be fun, I think. We have the left-hand feather coming into Dawlish Warren. Pete says more complete routes for me, but I understand the restrictions. Yeah, complete routes would be good. There's often a habit of doing part of a route. So if you look at New York Trenton, for example, it was that close to going to Philadelphia. That close. Why didn't it? I don't actually accept that it would have cost that much more to go that next step to Philadelphia. And yes, they wouldn't have had Scepter in the game, but who cares? Lord Vectron says, get off at the end of the line and bring a train back. I spent a day doing this on Southeastern High Speed. Yeah, I think the shift concept would be quite good because it brings in some purpose. Well, that'll do. Dawlish Warren, folks. Did I miss a whistleboard, did I? It's actually funny, you know, when I'm on the real trains, I never miss anything. But it's a different world, it really is. Lord Vectron says, the faults have been a long time want for you. Network Rail is operating single line, working ahead. You'll be running on the up line between here and Tynemouth. Watch out for trackside workers as you go. Okay. Vectron says, one feature I missed from TSC was the comfort metric. Too hard acceleration or braking and you'd lose points. It's a little like what's available in Run 8, where if you go too hard, you'll actually break couplers. I'm going to roll over to the other track now. Looks like we're all on. Normally when you're running wrong rail, you'd be given a speed restriction, but I wasn't. Not my signal. It's interesting that AWS and the signalling is working in this direction on this line, so must be geared up that it's a common thing to run wrong rail. Maybe when they're getting a bit wet. Vectron says, for ease of use, accessibility, some braking indicators would be good. My nephew overruns platforms, especially when he tries new trains and gets frustrated. He is 11. There are a lot of different braking systems as well, which can be hard to get used to. A simple control mode could be handy. As we approach Dawlish, and that looks like a TSR. It is. We've got the double circles, so it doesn't apply yet, but it's about to. So we have to slow down to 10 miles an hour. Got to get used to TSRs in Train Sim World, because you're going to see them. Excuse me, munching on things, but I'm going to. Cool. Why is there a passenger over there? John says the simple controls for Thomas were fantastic. Your other nephew is 4. I think simple controls could be a winner for all trains, to be honest. A simple control mode to get people into the game before they want to learn the more complex ways. The Aussie S player, since you think TSRs here are bad, just wait to see a full Stepford Cannon survey when the West Coast Tunnel floods and there is a signaller in zone E20. It's 20 minutes I'll stuck. I have played Stepford. Did you guys miss out? Do you want to get in? There you go, you can get in still. I'm a nice driver. I can blame the TSR for being late, so I'll be nice. Let people in. Why not? Pete says the wipers sound like a troop of soldiers marching. Yes, they do. I think, yes, better tutorials would be good. Certainly. Understand how the thing works. Explain to me how vacuum brakes work. Don't just say move the lever and release. Yes. I think that could be useful. The Aussie SCR player says 1,000 round for extended trains is a good investment in Robux. This is the end of my TSR, I think. Or maybe it's a continuation. Could be a slow run to Time Muff. Lord Vectron says explain the lapping and what it does, explain what PSI does and what these gauges mean. Lap brakes are an interesting thing. So I use lap brakes on the railway that I work on. Basically, the positions, so you've got charge and release, running, lap, service, and emergency. That's what we call them on our railway. I should put my hand over here. So it's charge and release, running, lap, service or application, and emergency are the 5 positions. Normally you will keep your brake handle in the running position. So I'll go through the 5 positions and what they're for. Charge and release provides a quick injection of air, or a big injection of air into the brake pipe to speed up releasing the brakes down the rest of the train, and to charge the reservoirs, the auxiliary reservoirs that are in every carriage. You hold it in charge and release for about a second or so for every 4 carriages that you've got on our railway. And that varies from railway to railway because they have different size cylinders. The running position will also release the brakes. So you don't have to use charge and release. You can put it in running and the brakes will release, but they will release slower. So they'll release quickly on your locomotive, and then carriage by carriage by carriage, as they charge up, they will release. There are times when you do use the running position to release the brakes and you don't use charge and release. There's different circumstances. The lap position, basically it's a holding position. So whatever you have set on the brakes, yes, Andy, you're absolutely correct. Overcharging is very bad. If you overcharge the brakes, you will not be able to use them anymore. That sucks a lot. So the lap position is kind of a hold. It doesn't release and it doesn't apply, it just holds. On some trains, depending on the brake handle, the lap position, the first time you put it there, may actually do a 7-pound application. So that's called initial. Not all trains do that, only some, and it's to do with the brake handle. Some of them do it, some of them don't. It's the type of valve. I quite like trains with initial, because that 7 pounds is often enough. The next position, which is service or application, depending on what you describe it as, we have to call it service, that starts to apply the brakes. And the longer you hold it in that position, the more it applies the brakes, the more strongly they apply. So if you go, and normally it's literally like this, it's like service lap, and that will get you a quite a good brake application. You're definitely not keeping it in service for very long at all, which is interesting because in the games, you'll often see you have to hold it there for ages, and that's just not right. I've done a big campaign on corrections to braking systems, and you've probably noticed in more recent trains they've been better. It's because I keep yelling at them. They have to be better. And the other interesting thing about service, so if you go from lap service back to lap, you've applied about your 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds, whatever, which is in theory not going to stop you. It's reducing your speed or holding a speed. The next time you go into service to give it a little bit more, it happens really fast. So it's like service. Because if you go there and hold it for a second, you'll get a massive brake application because they're additive. And when you're applying the brakes with lapped brake, don't watch the brake pipe gauge, watch the equalising reservoir gauge. Because the brake application that you are making, you are actually affecting the equalising reservoir. You're not affecting the brake pipe. The equalising reservoir and the equalising valve will then affect the brake pipe. So there's a little bit of a lag. So you need to watch the quick one, the equalising reservoir. Now, not all trains have an equalising reservoir gauge. The ones I run, the diesels do, the steam engines don't. So on the steam engines, you're not watching the gauge, you're feeling it in your hand, you're feeling it in your feet, you're listening for the application, you're feeling the retardation of movement. And it's really hard in real trains, it really is. The sea does look rough today, Holy Trucker. Welcome! Lord Vectron says, in tutorials should have both tutorials. Some people don't care for the technical side. I'm a nerd, so I love technical. Yeah, that's why I think there should be a simple controls and a normal controls. And potentially simple controls, normal controls, and expert controls. So you could have different for the different things. Comfortable that the doors have actually closed. Looks like we're going back to the normal running line up here. So we won't accelerate too hard. Holy Trucker says, this looks nice for TS Classic. Is default graphics or graphics mod? I am using Rail Enhancer. I use the first version of Rail Enhancer. It is quite nice, but the graphics aren't that different with Rail Enhancer, to be honest. It's just a smidge. Slightly different shaders. Holy Trucker says, C looks rough. Andy says, I know had that similar situation in Zusi. Had to wait several minutes to move again. Zusi, if you want to learn German trains, Zusi 3 is where you go. It's an excellent simulator, but it's really hard. Like, really hard, because it is a real simulator of the train. If you can drive that train in Zusi, you can drive that train. Even the Zusi one's been dumbed down a little bit. Off we go to Newton Abbott. Back on our track. We're allowed to accelerate again. So we will. Full beans. And he says there are brakes that must be charged and reduce them before you can use them again. In German it's called Bremse. Got out of the way of that HST just in time by the looks of it. Yeah, in all air braking systems, you do have to charge the system periodically. Generally speaking, and this applies to the trains that I operate in, you've got 3 applications before you must completely recharge the system or you're stuffed. So you may have heard the concept pissing away the air. That's what that means. If you use up all of the air, you will get to a point where the pressure in the brake pipe and the pressure in the atmosphere are so similar that you can't make another application. So even though there's air left in the reservoirs and there's air left in the brake cylinders, they've equalised, which means you cannot make another application. And the only thing you can do in that case is dump it. So you go into emergency and hope for the best. But even that may not do, or in fact it will not do another application. All it does is dump all the air out of the pipe and all of the reservoirs so that you can then recharge the system once that's finished. But that may not actually stop you. If you've already pissed away the air, it's not going to make a brake application. That's where you're stuck with handbrakes. Rail says that's why you like the 26L. The 26L is the independent brake. It will have another handle with it, either a 4 or a 6 or a 7 or a 10, various others. Aussie SCI player says, I saw a Facebook reel, it was a German Bombardier train and every button and switch said the same German word. What?
It probably says Stolrung, which probably means the train's broken and it doesn't want to move. Have a calmer day in the seas here. Rails says, not if steam keeps getting hissed over the air brake valve. Steam won't do anything to an air brake valve. You may have steam brakes on a locomotive. A lot of UK ones do. Rails says, bottling up the air. That's another concept again. So when you cut off from a train, it's important to open up the angle cock and dump the air out. And you have to do that carefully because the glad hand on the end of the hose bag will smack you in the face if you don't. The reason you don't want to bottle up the air is, let's say you've applied the brakes on a cut of cars and you take your locomotive off and tootle away and go and do whatever it is you're doing. Those brakes will stay on for a while and they will hold those cars there. But the air gradually leaks away, and as the air is leaking away, the braking system will see that as another application and they'll apply the brakes again. And you'll get to the point where the brakes will inadvertently release because the pressure differential goes the other way around, because the braking system works by pressure differential. And then they'll roll away. That's why you don't want to bottle up the air. Minely Ticket Trombone, hello, welcome. I don't think I've seen your name in the chat before. Welcome along to the stream. We are about to arrive at Newton Abbot. We are running a little pacer on the Riviera Line in Transcend Classic. Rails says, if I were an engineer of a passenger train, I wouldn't immediately go into emergency unless the objects themselves are getting closer to the point where only the emergency brakes, your last friend. The emergency brakes will stop your train slower than a normal service brake application, because when you dump the air in emergency, it locks your wheels and you will start to slide. You are much better off making a normal service brake application and controlling your train. Because once you've gone into emergency, you have relinquished control of your train to fate. It's one of the interesting things, because in the official world, in our thing, they teach firemen that if your driver becomes incapacitated, you put the brake into emergency, you put the throttle, close the throttle back to the off position, and open the cylinder cocks, and once the train stops, you start to tell other people what's going on, and put the handbrake on. And that's all you do. Or you put the reverser back to mid-gear as well, sorry. And that's the official thing, but they'll actually, in reality, want you to do a service brake application and control the train and slow it gently to a stop, and then put it into emergency. The wheels do lock up in real life, Rails, very much so. The wheels can lock up with a normal brake application if the rails are slimy. If there's leaves or dirt, snow, just wetness sometimes. The oil from eucalyptus trees can cause the wheels to lock up. Looks like we are still going to go right to the end of the platform. Even though in reality we'd be stopping back behind us here. It's one of the unrealistic things that happens in simulation games is they want you to stop the train at the end, and you just don't do that in reality. You'd only come all the way up here if another one was going to come in behind you and couple up to you. That should do. Let's get rid of that noisy windscreen wiper. Rail says, don't apply the automatic brake and apply the handbrakes on top of each other. It will cause wheel slip. Well, that's not quite right. The handbrake will lock the wheels, yes. But no, you don't use them together. Handbrake is for after you've stopped. Unless it's an emergency and it's the only thing you've got left, you use the handbrake to stop. Alright. Time to go. Off we go to Torquay. Little while away. We won't go too hard out of here because we have a feather. The feather is that diagonal set of white lights you can see on the signal up there, which is indicating you are going to a different track. The Aussie SCR players is, you know that feeling when the bus is only late and it's only that one driver. I feel sorry for bus drivers, I really do. They have a shit life. Everyone hates them and they have to get their bus in and out of traffic. It's got to be quite stressful. Minely Ticket Trombone says that's a cool train. It is a cool train. It is a Pacer, which is basically a collection of 4 buses joined together. Rail says you can reset the brakes after you go into emergency. No, you can't. Nope. Your train must stop. If you do anything other than wait for that train to stop, you will not have any brakes until the system recharges, which on a short train is probably 3 or 4 minutes. On a long train, like a 2-mile long American freight, could be as much as 25 to 30 minutes before those brakes are charged again. So if you attempted to release from emergency without stopping, you could find yourself in a very bad place and being completely out of control. Andy says it's time to go to bed, so it's 3 AM. Got a stream today at noon. Have a nice stream. Well, if I'm awake when you are streaming, I'll drop in. Have a good one, Andy. Good to have you in. Michael says not to Andy. The Aussie SCR player says, I know luckily most of the routes that Wide Bay Transit does aren't on the main roads. That'd be helpful. I was actually quite impressed with the UK bus drivers. Some of the streets they managed to get their buses through, it's just amazing. Like, it's massive double-decker buses going down these little country lanes and little country streets in rural towns. Absolutely amazing what they can do. Hello, New York, Texas Railroad. Hello, how are you? We're a long way from Texas. We're a long way from New York. We're driving in the UK summer. Actually, I have to say the UK are getting very Australian summers now. They're a little warm. Just a little bit warm. I hope you are good. My day's going pretty well, Minely Ticket Trombone. It's Sunday morning here. I have some things to do after I finish this. I have to do a little bit more disassembly work in our kitchen. I have to go looking for a range hood with the other half because we need a new one. And work out how we're going to put that in and when we're going to put that in. little phantom platform from a former station, now abandoned. It's quite warm this morning. It's actually starting to cool down a little bit. I think it might actually be raining out there. New York Texas Railroad says, would you recommend this controller, the TSC-X, over a rail driver? If you were buying one from new, these are cheaper than a rail driver. And I think it's a better design than the rail driver. So yes, I probably would recommend it. It's a nice feel. It doesn't feel small and plasticky like the rail driver does. There's nice solid handles. You may have noticed I go to step 2 and then back to step 1. That was in response to some training material I've seen and some discussion with a couple of UK drivers that I was chatting with. They go to step 2 to get a proper brake application and then go to step 1, and that could be because there's crap on the wheels or the brake shoes, and a step 2 application will clear that off, whereas a step 1 might not, particularly if there's ice. Mindly Ticket Trombone says, that's cool, I might do an upgrade for my room. It's like light classic, but yeah. Yeah, they are quite a decent controller. I did get a reply back from Sim Workshop, by the way. They confirmed that the Chinese characters in here actually do say Sim Workshop. So that's cool. I think they've done quite a nice job of it. It's a nice design. I don't know if I've shown you this before. I probably shouldn't do this with my brake handle because I'm going to need it to stop soon. But you can actually unscrew it and take the handle off, and you've got a handle and the bolt. The handles, they're not actually metal. There's some kind of I think 3D printed stuff. And the bolt makes it truly heavy. So you can have different handles, and they're thinking about different shape handles for the future. I'd like to have a 4th axis. 3's good, but 4 would be better, because there are a lot of trains that need a 4th axis. I'd like to have the reverser as an axis, for example, for steam trains. Vectron says, that's how my XPT driver mate brake starts with a little hard and releases back, and then harder right before stopping, pulls it all the way back. Yeah, absolutely. That's a nice gentle controlled brake then. The XPT is of course an HST. Very similar anyway. Vectron says, disappointed by the TSC-X controller didn't have a button on the top of the lever. Yeah, it looked like that they could have, but no, it's a bolt. Not stopping at this one. One of the interesting things I noticed in the UK is they don't sound their horn as they're rolling through a platform unless there's someone close to the edge. The Aussie SCR player says, yes, average British train in Australia. They have a different engine here. Just let gravity speed us up. Lord Vectron says, I think the reverser axis is a limitation of TSW. I was playing into setting a Cobra. I couldn't see the reversers being set to any axis. It was a button for forward or backwards. No, because the reverser is an axis on the rail driver, and it works. So I don't know if it's Cobra's software that needs to change, or if it's something we need to do with the way the axis works, or TSW needs to change, but one of them does, because you can't use a steam reverser with this thing currently. The next stop will be Torquay. The doors will open on the left. If you are alighting here, please make sure you take all of your belongings with you, and don't forget your children. They might be annoying, but you need to keep them. Right to the end of the platform again, despite the distinct lack of realism in that. Torquay stop successful. Mindly Ticket Trombone says, that's fire. I wish I had that kind of tool for TSW5. It looks fun. It is fun. What I'm hoping is that Cobra takes up the API for TSW and controls it that way, rather than going through the rail driver hack interface that he's using at the moment. There is a virtual rail driver in the API that I think would be a good approach, a good thing to do. And that's what TS controllers have done in the UK. Off we go to Paynton. Vectron says the XPT Loco is shorter, less powerful engine and bigger radiators. Yes, ironically the UK needs those bigger radiators now, because their trains are suffering a little bit in their modern heat environment, where they've got temperatures in the 30s in summer, which is not something the UK's used to. They're getting cooked. Most of them don't have air conditioning. Their houses are designed to hold heat in, not keep it out. As the SCR player says, who would win, a Queensland rail tilt train or one long British train? Well, they're quite different, because the QR tilt trains run on 3'6" track. Different machines, different purposes, different environments. So it would depend on how you define the criteria for what win means, I suppose. Rolling down the hill into Paynton now. Timed that well. Vectron says also depend on its native habitat. The tilt train would destroy the HST and vice versa. Indeed. Hello, Daniel Robert Jowett. How are you? Welcome along. We've been discussing all sorts of weird and wonderful things today, and we're currently driving a Class 143 Pacer on the Riviera Line in Train Simulator Classic. Finally, Ticket Trombone says the waves from the ocean look nice. They're pretty good for a game engine of this age. Train Simulator Classic was born from Microsoft Train Simulator so long ago. So long ago. I think after this one we'll find one more short run to do and then we'll knock it off for today, I think. As we roll into Paynton. You woke up to use the facility. Ah, that's such a common practice at night, isn't it? Rail says don't go into emergency braking right away. This braking system you can just apply and release and apply and release and apply and release. It doesn't matter. It's designed to cope with it. We've got that gate open again. So I'll do what you'd have to do on our railway. You'd come right up to the apron of the crossing. And stop. Warn, and then move off. When did they first start the cool train game, asks Mindly Ticket Trombone. Well, this game has its roots in Microsoft Train Simulator. I should be accelerating, not braking. Which came out in 2001, and it was kind of abandoned. It was built by a company called Kuju, and it was kind of abandoned by Microsoft around 2003, 2004. They built another version of it, which was Train Simulator World of Rails, which never released, never came out to the public. Some years later, I'm going to say around 2007, 2008, Railworks came out, and that was an EA title, and that was by Kuju, and it used some of the code from Microsoft Train Simulator, but it was a different engine. Railworks at some point left EA and went into railworks.com, which is the forerunner for Dovetail Games. And around 2012, I think, Train Simulator was released. And that was this thing. And gradually, it's had many names over the years, but it's currently called Train Simulator Classic. Interestingly, Train Sim World is actually called Train Simulator 2. I think it was earlier than 2009 Railworks. Once I get this stopped, let me tell you why. Right. Okay, full service. Doors open. Let me grab something. So prior to Railworks, it was called Rail Simulator. And does this look familiar? Smooth on-time service, well done. Excellent. When did this come out? Let me just hide my key. But, oh, hang on, let's do it here. Do it the other way around. 2008. I bought that. So that was an add-on for it. And yeah, this was the EA version of the game. So had a manual, had an actual book, came with stuff. So yeah, that was my start with this one. And I think Railworks was after this. So Railworks maybe railworks.com, which interestingly is the name now of Dovetail. All right, let's do a short one and then we'll go. So let's do first look. Rescue diversion, that's a long one. Oh, let's do first look. 20 minutes. When are we? 11:10. Yeah, that'll do. 20 minutes. Okay, back in a Pacer. Yeah, that's possible, Michael. So it was Rail Simulator and then Railworks. Ooh, there's half a Pacer. Drive this brand new Class 143 on the 1459 passenger service down to Dawlish. This will be the commuter's first time on the service, so make sure to please everyone. But of course, we're at Exeter St David's. And it's the other branch. Lord Vectron says EA Games Rail Sim. Yes. And Railworks evolved from that EA. It did indeed. And Train Simulator Classic evolved from Railworks. And Train Sim World evolved from Train Simulator. So there you go. Vectron says, I had the EA one on Steam way back when, and it migrated over to Railworks and then TSC. Yeah, it has. It's migrated by itself. Mindly Ticket Trombone says, interesting, I got my first train game TSW around 2019, not sure, but yeah. Yeah, TSW, CSX Heavy Haul was what, 2018, I think? Something like that. Could be a bit iffy on that date, but it was something like that. Let's just check and see if the doors have actually shut, and they haven't. Okay, now they have. Green signal, off we go. Can I have some power, please? Oh, I don't have a reverser. Take that, HST. You're stuck behind me. A lowly Pacer. New York, Texas Railroad says I got a free key to Pacific Surfliner in 2014. That's how you started. Fair enough. Rail says 2017. Yeah, I'd accept 2017. There's a train up there. Why is there a train up there? Oh, it's not on my track, it's on the other one. That's okay then. Gratuitous bridge shot. Of course, must be done. I do actually have a disc for CSX Heavy Haul around somewhere, but it's not in my software cupboard. This thing keeps moving. So I'm not quite sure where it is. I actually wanted to get it out and install it because I wanted to see how different it was from today's sandpatch grade. Exeter St Thomas, next stop. So I actually got my rail driver, as distinct from this thing, in 2001. And it's lasted a long time. I've never been particularly gentle with it. It has moved countries with me multiple times, usually just thrown in a box. So it is quite a resilient little thing. I do know that there are people who have managed to smash theirs, which I find impressive. I don't know how you could. Because they're made of Delrin, which is an engineering plastic that's very strong. Because I still... No, it's too far away to get it. Still have that little beast. The reason I think these things are better, by the way, is because the sensor for the controller is just here. It's right next to the controller. Do I have... let's see if my box of keys... I haven't got my hex keys in here. They're probably out in the garage where they belong. Doors closing. Otherwise, I'd open one of these up for you and show you. But the sensor's literally just here. And on this one, it's just here. And on this one, it's just here. Whereas the rail driver, from the lever, there's a plastic rod that goes back along the axis to the side of the box. And those plastic rods twist when you're using them, which is why the levers move. So you'll move a lever to a position and you've torqued that rod and it's twisted. And when the rod relaxes, the lever moves a little bit and jiggles. That's why that happens. New York Texas Railroad says, what's your opinion on the Train Sim Society YouTube channel? He's a really interesting person. Train Sim Society is actually a channel called Pixelade, which is the main channel. And they live off a world of clickbait and being slightly controversial to attract viewers. So, I mean, it works for them. It builds up their channel. The other thing, so Pixelate is a whole team, okay? It's not one person. This is a very personal opinion, but I think that a lot of the videos there, the voiceover is probably AI. Now, it's using that guy's voice model, but there's too much content for it to be one person across the different Pixelate channels. You just couldn't play that many games in a week. So, you know, you could create voiceovers using text-to-speech with an AI voice model of yourself. Those voice models are pretty good. I have played around with them. I'm not going to use it for content, but I played around with it because I wanted to see what they were like, and they're actually quite cool. The only downside is once you've made one, there's a voice model of you on the internet. And, you know, it's on the internet. It's never going away. And the way, the modus operandi of Pixelate, if you like, is be a little bit controversial, attract people, dial the controversy back a little bit, which is starting to happen now with the Train Sim Society channel, and then you get in with the company. And you can see that happening now. So in the direct, a person labelled Train Sim Society was asking a lot of quite pointed questions. And I pointed out to JD and Alex and Matt during the direct that those questions, the answers to those questions, whether they got treated seriously or not, are going to form the basis for a future video where the Pixelade team will start to say, look, we're challenging this company to be better. And here's how we've succeeded. Now, their success might be nothing to do with what they challenged, but they'll claim it. And then they'll go, oh, well, the company's not listening in cases where it doesn't succeed, and not listening to the players. And they build up quite a strong player base. So I saw them do it with Transport Fever. And they got changes made to the game. I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong, whether the changes were good or bad. I mean, that's for you to decide. But to me, I'm not a fan of that, because it's taking control away from the games org. So as an ambassador, I see what my responsibility is a two-way street. I bring stuff from Dovetail to you, and I take stuff from you back to Dovetail. But the important thing is, it's not my thoughts, it's yours. So I put my thoughts in too, but they're just as a community member. I don't try and drive what you think, which is what Train Sim Society, aka Pixelate, does. So if you like the channel, go watch it. I mean, it's entertaining. I watch some of them. Just be in there with your eyes open, that's all. And know that that's what they're trying to do. Something tells me we're not getting to 100 mile an hour in our happy little Pacer on this lovely summer's day. The Aussie SER player says balls. That's a very Australian word. Victron says, I'm tired of YouTubers changing products because of their influence. Well, yeah, they are calling influencers. Victron says, tech YouTubers are ruining the iPad by trying to make it more Mac-like, and that was never the vision for the iPad. Yeah, it was always designed to be a very simplistic device, the iPad. I'm, as Vectron knows, because we have conversations, I'm not an Apple acolyte. I don't currently even have any Apple products, but I've had Apple products. All right, they're not bad products, not by a long shot. They're quite good. They're just not my cup of tea, because I'm not a walled garden kind of person. I like to have a bit more openness. And frankly, the max control of the creator universe, beautiful marketing, because the Mac is 100% slower than a PC of the same cost. 100%. It's slower. It takes longer to render videos. Now, I know this for sure because I had one. I had a very high-end Mac, and my PC rendered videos twice as fast because the GPUs are better. It's just that simple. It really is. Beautiful marketing. Brilliant marketing. Absolutely brilliant. But there's nothing wrong with those products, and if you're the kind of person that likes working in that ecosystem, go for your life, because there's awesome consistency between the phone, the iPad, and the Mac. But I do agree that the iPad is becoming more Mac-like, and that's not what it's meant to be. Oddly enough, because I want to push out my podcast onto Apple Podcasts, I might actually have to get an Apple device, because to have an Apple account, you must have an Apple device, because you need it for the two-factor. And I took my Mac off because I gave that Mac away to a family member. And yeah, it's interesting, because I've still got an Apple account, and I've got two-factor, oddly enough, working through my Pixel. Because I'm like that, I'm insistent, but I can't actually set up a podcast account at the moment. So I may have to get an Apple device just to do that. But what I'll probably do is head down to Cash Converters and buy the cheapest, oldest iPad I can that's new enough. And I think Victron and I had a chat. It's probably iPad 12 or iOS, one that can run iOS 12. That'll work for what I want to do. So. There's no doubt in my mind that their hardware's good, the operating system's good. It is basically Unix on a Mac. I am a old Unix head from a long time ago. Odin Adler says the new Apple Silicon GPUs, specifically the Pro and Beta chips, are powerful. They are, but they're still not faster than NVIDIA. All right, they're better, but they're not faster. They're always playing a step behind the game. It's a bit like Google Tensor. The Google Tensor is a long way towards the H100, but it's not there. One Tensor does not equal one H100. They're just not there yet. They're playing a step behind in the game. But that step behind is okay if that's where you want to be. Not everybody wants to be on the highest bleeding edge. I mean, look at how much dramas I've had in keeping my machine stable when I push it as hard as I do. I'm in a fairly stable place now. I actually had a couple of crashes over the weekend, which are from a Windows update that Windows claim does nothing to your SSDs, and that's bullshit, because it breaks them. You can see them actually disappearing. But anyway, Pectron says, I found it really odd that no one ever did a direct comparison of the Intel Mac Pro with the AMD GPU versus the Apple Silicon Mac Pros. Yeah, it is interesting that sort of stuff doesn't seem to happen, I suppose. New York Texas Railroad says Apple controls the phone's lifespan. They all do. All the high-end phone manufacturers do, absolutely. This thing, my Pixel 8, it's got, what, 7 years? 7 years max. And Pixels before that were only 3 years. So all of the flagship phone manufacturers control the lifespan. Even manufacturers like Nothing, who claim to be fully modular and fully replaceable and stuff like that, they don't support phones forever. Do not have the headlights on, I don't, do I? Vectron says, fake news. Mindly Ticket Trombone says, I might do some Incredibox music after the live stream. Go for your life. Odin Adela says, the M4 Pro on the 14-inch MVP gets similar GPU performance on Geekbench 6 to my 3070 mobile GPU, which is wild. Yeah, but it's a 3070. Imagine comparing it to a 5090. Get what I'm saying? Vectron says iOS 26 coming out soon. Will work on an iPhone 11 released in 2019. I know of no Android headset released in 2019 that can run the latest Android. That is currently true. But that won't be true when we've gone a few years down the track, because the Pixel 6 has 7 years. So, yes. And to be honest with you, Android and iOS are almost identical. They're so close to each other in not in how they work, but in what they do. So close. So close. They're so close that people find it difficult to move from one to the other because the differences are really subtle. That's why people get stuck. Oh, and Adler says both OSs have pros and cons. Absolutely they do. New York Texas Railroad says, I believe Apple says they slow down the phones a bit as the battery ages. There's nothing wrong with that, to be honest with you. What they are doing is making your battery last longer by not abusing its chemistry. So in the early days of a battery, and this applies to most battery types, not all, you can really slug that thing. You can really smack it. But over a few years, and it's about 1,000 charge cycles. So if you think about that, if you charge your phone every night on your bedstand, it's about 3 years that battery's going to shit itself, because you get about 1,000 full charge cycles in a lithium battery. And it can vary a bit. So your battery might get 500, someone else's battery might get 3,000. It just varies because of the chemistry and the way it's treated and the temperature and whether you drop it and all those kinds of things. It all changes stuff. Heading for Dawlish Warren now. So, yes, they do slow the phone down a bit, but, you know, they're doing that in your interest. They're doing that so that your battery lasts longer and doesn't catch fire. I think that's a good thing to do, surely. Surely that's a good thing to do. So making your hardware last a bit longer. Vectron says charge cycles are counted by 0 to 100% of charging, so you charge 10% daily over 10 days. That is one cycle. Yeah, but who charges like that? But yes, if you plug in your phone and unplug it and plug it in and unplug it, they will actually wear out faster. That Aussie SCR players has react to cheap airline safety video. I'm not sure where you're at there. Dawlish Warren. And this whistleboard's not for me, because it's on my right. Vectron says I do, because I barely used my phone. I barely use my phone as a phone. In fact, I think the only actual phone call, like real phone call, as in dialed on a phone network, that my phone's ever made was in the UK when I was talking to the airline. Because all my other calls, they're through Signal or Telegram. I'll have a look, the Aussie SCR player. Vectron says usually 90% remaining each night. Lowest I've seen was 60% after some camera usage for most of the day. I found when I was in the UK, their 5G network, because they've got strong coverage in towns and not as much, if any, coverage outside of the towns, my battery usage was quite heavy in the UK, much heavier than here. On most days I was probably getting down to 20%, but I use my phone quite a lot for video and chatting with people and whatever. So I'm a fairly heavy battery user. Vectron says between home and work, your phone's probably on Wi-Fi all day. Yeah, that's true. Was in the UK sometimes. A lot of their trains have Wi-Fi, which is quite cool. And they usually have a free Wi-Fi that's good enough for messaging. And they usually have a paid Wi-Fi that's good enough to watch videos and things like that. Similar with the hotels. Yes, I've hit my 3-hour mark. We'll finish this one. I think it... Where does it go to? Yeah, it finishes at Dawlish, so we'll finish this one. Not far to go to Dawlish. We're now running down the Dawlish coast along the Dawlish sea wall. Vectron says I work from home, so it's on Wi-Fi most days. Yeah, I work from home 3 days a week. 2 days in the office, sometimes more, sometimes less. And of course I've got my railway day. Benjamin's Brain in Jar says 5G is shite in the UK. 5G is shite everywhere, mate. I actually run 4G at home. I don't bother with 5G. The Aussie SCR player says you only have Vol LTE here in Australia since no 2G or 3G. You should have 4G at least. LTE must be running on 4. We've got 5G around here. We were one of the trial suburbs. But 5G's not available everywhere yet. Oh, that reminds me, how's the stream? Because our network got upgraded last night. We have double the outgoing bandwidth now. We have 200 megabits. Now arriving at Dawlish. This train will terminate here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, so get off. Take your shit with you. Vectron says, I miss 4G, would get 4 to 5 bars, but only 2 on 5G. Yeah, it's not an uncommon story. Can't you drop that back to 4G, though? So you can tell your phone to use 4G, even though you're allowed to use 5G? Texas Road says, I have 5G UC, no idea what that means. That's American 5G. American 5G is weird. But American phones are weird, to be honest. No hitches, that's good. Stream is good. Stream is God, apparently, says Michael. All hail the stream. The stream is God. You have to wait till September the 16th for the network upgrade. That's sad. Yeah, I like the way Aussie Broadband put it out. Oh, we're doing this. It's actually an NBN thing. Because really your network provider that you pay has nothing to do with your network. it's all NBN. Aussie SCO player says, don't use NBN as I'm homeless. Well, that sucks. Yeah, you're kind of stuck with the Gs. The mobiles. So I hope you find somewhere at some point, because it's not cool to be homeless, of course. I've never been there myself. Financially, I think we've come close in the 90s. We struggled a lot when interest rates were 20%. That was very difficult, but we somehow managed it. Vectron says, yeah, probably could, but on Wi-Fi all day, it's just non-issue. It just hurts my brain seeing 2 bars. So there's a lot of talking between the computers. Let's hope it's all positive. No, I'm tipping there going, what is this bloody bouncy Pacer thing? Anyway, you're trying to save up for a house. That's cool. It's a difficult thing to do. It is. Getting that deposit is difficult. It's like me doing a dumb thing. 10 years before I retire, I get a $500,000 mortgage. But there you go. You know, life. That's the way things are. So we're not terribly far away from the release of Train Sim World 6. What's the date today? It's the 7th. So about 23 days for the normal access and 18 for early access if you buy deluxe or special editions. They'll be available on the 25th. 26th for Aussies, I think. No, maybe it's the same day. Just later in the day. But anyway, something like that. So it's not far off. DTG, their first stream has been announced for routes. They are doing the Dresden-Leipzig route first, and they'll be doing Morristown after that, and then Riviera. I don't think they've announced the dates for the other 2 streams as yet. So if I'm awake at 4 o'clock in the morning, I might see you in those streams. If I'm not awake at 4 o'clock in the morning, I won't. I will be back on Wednesday night for a stream. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to stream yet on Wednesday night. I have a couple of things up my sleeve because there's a couple of new games and there's a couple other bits and pieces going on with changes. So we shall see. We shall see indeed. So thanks for joining in, everyone. Thanks for watching. The people who just sit in the background, you're absolutely welcome to do that, of course. And if you're not subscribed, please do so. And chuck a like on the thing if you wouldn't mind. All right, have fun, folks. Enjoy yourselves. If you've got any requests, jump on my Discord, chuck it in stream requests, and we'll see where they go. All right. Vectron says line was flatter than they make it out to be in the description. Is a lot of slight gradient. It is a lot of slight gradients and curves, yes. It very much is. The line's a little bit different in TSW as well. Alrighty, have fun, folks. Enjoy yourselves, and we shall see you next time. Bye now.